Hey guys, we're not here, and just thought I'd do a real quick video on something that happened today. It was with Airsoft Gearbox working, so anyway, it's kind of makes me a little mad, but I wouldn't say I saw it coming because I really didn't, but I figured it would last a little longer. Anyway, let's get down to it. So I'm working on this gun, D-Boy Scar H. Everything's going perfectly well except one thing, and that one thing, I was taking the gun down today, and I was about ready to call this project complete. 100% reliable, because this gun was built out of spare parts completely. Not a single part in this gun matches up, but like two, and that's like the spur gear and sector gear, which are both JG. That's the only two parts in this gun that match up from the same brands, to my knowledge. And alright, so what I discovered was, when I was looking at everything, making sure everything was alright, checking the bevel gear and all the shimming, and all the gears look great. Anyway, when I was looking at it, and I put the other shell on to throw on my motor grip and all that stuff, just to check out some things. I was screwing in some screws, and I noticed the right screw here, that the shell is cracked right through. Just I knew this would happen soon, but I didn't think it happened this soon, because like, I mean, I wouldn't say I saw it coming soon, but I mean, it's a D-Boy Scar H, and these things went out of the market a long time ago, and this is a second-hand gun from the person who owns it. So when they sent it to me to get it worked on, it was like in pieces everywhere. Like I was saying, about the spare parts, basically. Basically, I didn't know how much abuse this shell had been through. Usually when a customer sends me their gun, they can tell me, hey, I've had this gun about 6 months and I want to upgrade it, so I know how much wear it's been through, so I can, accurately depict, how, what to expect in the build. Anyway, the person who sent me this gun got it secondhand, so they may not have known how old it was. But since it's a D-Boy Scar H, it's pretty old. Assuming he got it in the U.S. But yeah, they're pretty old guns. Anyway, all shells will eventually crack on any setup. It does not matter what you're running. It does not matter how well you protect it. If you put sorbo on it and radius it and do everything in the book you can to protect it, it'll still eventually crack. It matters how old it is. It matters how much abuse it went through, and then it was tuned up. Like, when I got this to work on, the corners weren't radius, didn't have any sorbo on it. The pad on the cylinder was, nothing. It was a millimeter thin, more than likely. It looked super thin. And, it's just an old shell. That's basically what I've gathered from this. And this is the only side that cracked too. I know for a fact it's not my radiusing job, because I radius all guns exactly like this, and I've run this exact shell 10 times the setup that it's running on right now, which is nothing right now. It's pulling an M100 spring with a JG Blue. So I mean, on 18-to-1 gears, there's no speed there. There's no abuse, and this shell is just really old. I think it's basically what happened here. I mean, the outside of the shell, it looks like somebody's taken it apart a lot and stuff like that. It's got a lot of markings around it and stuff like that. Unfortunately, this kind of stuff does happen, and when it does happen, it sucks. It really does. And I mean, I know I've never had one crack on me, and I've only ever cracked a Gearbox shell once, and it's because I was trying to crack it, actually. And before you guys go, why are you trying to crack a Gearbox shell? It was a piece of crap. It was a plastic Crossman Gearbox shell. I was trying to crack it because I was bored, and it did crack. It was an M130 full stroke version 3 Gearbox. I think I was running 13-to-1s. I think, yeah, I think I was, but it was like on a 7.4 and like some motor that I built. I don't know, but it cracked, and it was like at 25 RPS or something. I don't know. It was a really slow build. Anyway. But it cracked. Of course, it's a piece of crap plastic one, but all shells will eventually crack. It doesn't matter what it is. Version 2s have that problem more often because they're less reinforced in the front than a version 3, version 6, version 7, etc. Speaking about Gearbox shells cracking, I'm afraid my P90 Gearbox shell is going to be cracking soon, because it's getting really old and it's putting up with a lot of abuse right now. And it's difficult finding a replacement shell for version 6. Even though the version 6 is the strongest Gearbox shell, in my experience, it's the strongest Gearbox shell I've ever come across. And it's way stronger than the version 3, but they still can crack, and that's a problem. But version 2s are the weakest Gearbox shell, out of the standard 4. Version 2, 3, 5, no, not 5, 6 and 7, all those will, the version 2 is the weakest out of the bunch. Anyway, this like I said, is properly radiused. It was, perfectly radiused like I normally do, and it cracked. And it only cracked on like a small portion of the gearbox. I wouldn't say a small portion. It cracked on the lower portion right now. I'm sorry if I'm sounding a little stupid right now. School was a pain in the butt today. But it only cracked like right here. It's just clean right through. Everything else looks good though. And I mean, the other gearbox half is perfect. Radius like it should be, obviously. And this one just cracked. It sucks, I know, but this type of stuff does happen. Just trying to think what else to say here. I was really happy with this build too, because it was like the shimming was just great, and it was my quickest shimming on a version 2. The air seal was beautiful. Everything was great in this build. I loved it. I mean, it was a good build. It was going great, and solving a lot of problems with it, and it was going great. And then all of a sudden, I opened it up to take a look at everything, about ready to pack it up and send it out the door, and it's correct. Because I'm glad I caught that though, because if I wouldn't have caught that, I would have sent it out. That'd been my fault. And I would have had to, I would have obviously admitted to it. But I mean, like, I'm glad I caught that. Good thing is, replacement version 2 shells can be, bought for fairly cheap, unless you want to buy like an upgrade one, like a Lonex one, which I would also almost recommend, because those obviously they will eventually crack on a setup. It takes forever. Like I said, I've only cracked one gearbox shell ever, and that was a piece of poop, plastic one. And I've never heard of a Lonex shell cracking, actually. Well, I thought I heard of one cracking, but no. I think I might be mistaken. I don't think I've ever heard of one cracking. So, I'd probably buy one of those, like $40 something for a version 2 and $50 or something for a version 3. But anyway, yeah, I radiused it like I normally would, and it, cracked right down the radiusing job, which was weird. I'm trying to think of something else to say. Yeah, this truly does suck, I know. If you do get a Lonex shell, you have to get new bushings or bearings, whichever one you want. So yeah, I mean, yeah, sucks, but I just want to reiterate that gearbox shells, no matter on the setup, eventually it will break. I do not know how old this one is, and only cracking in like a certain location. I don't know. Like I said, all gearbox shells will eventually break. Blah blah blah. I said like 10 times now, but yeah, it does suck. I know. Oh well. And one thing I was weird about this build is I was running it on just 4 screws in the gearbox, which I've done before. It's half. It's plenty. Everybody, well, it's not everybody, but a lot of people say you need to run it with all gearbox, screws in. I mean, I run my G36 without a couple of screws on the gearbox, and it's, it's fine. We'll only run it without one. It's the front one, but I mean, it's perfectly fine. I just permatex everything down, and it runs at its current setup perfectly fine. Yeah, not all four, 4 out of 8 are in the gearbox, so it's fine. So that wasn't the problem. I'm just eliminating things right now. AOE was not the problem because it had sufficient padding to protect it with faucet washer. Radiation job was perfect. Well, I wouldn't say perfect, but it was close as humanly possible to perfect as it can get. everything in this build is set up for it to work, and I built it to the best of my ability. And this is what happens. Not all builds will always work out. Sometimes we'll get a crack like this. And I'm just basically rambling on right now about how how you can't just build a gun out of completely spare parts that you have no idea on their background and expect it to run perfectly. Eventually it will break. It could break, as soon as you pull the trigger, everything's perfect because something was, very on the edge of surviving, like the Gearbox shell. The Gearbox shell shows no signs of actual wear until it just breaks. I mean, you may get a little bit of cracks here and there, which I examined every part that he sent me, and I saw nothing to sign that the Gearbox shell was going to crack. Or else I would have told him. Interesting enough, though, it's only one side. It's only one half. The other half is perfectly fine, and I tried examining it for cracks, and I didn't see anything at all. So I guess it's just a little bit stronger than the other half. I don't know. Normally I would think it would crack both of the same, but I don't know. But yeah, it is cracked. Can't use it. Have to get a new one. Like I said, you can either get a really nice Slonex one that'll last forever, or you can get a stock replacement for cheap. Somebody's always selling Gearbox shells. They'll work as long as they're not 5 years old like this one may be. But yeah, that's really all I got to say. I did everything in my power to get this build functioning with the parts that I was sent, and it functioned great during the time. It was very accurate with the R-hop and the upgrade barrel that was sent with it. Everything was great in this gun. I really liked it, except the fact that the Gearbox shell broke. But yeah, that's really all I gotta say. I'm gonna send this video to the customer, and I'll see the course of action from there. It sucks because I was supposed to send this out tomorrow, tomorrow or Saturday, and I hate when something like this happens with a customer because they're really looking forward to their gun working, perfectly, and like I advertise, and something like this happens, and it happens, and it sucks. A lot of people will say that that I'm a tech and I don't really care if something like this happened, or oops, it happened, whatever. It really does suck. I understand how this happens, because when I first got into teching, I made a lot of little dumb mistakes, but this wasn't under a dumb mistake, so this wasn't something I could control. But I always hated when something broke or when something just happened stupid, and this is just one of those things. The shell is getting old. It looks really old and beat up on the outside. Almost looks like Legacy's Scarlight Gearbox. It's just like so many little scratches on it. But speaking about the Scar Gearbox, this will actually, it's just a complete center version too, so lowness will just drop in just fine without any modification, unless it's a little wider or something, or doesn't like to fit in the receiver. But this receiver is really wide, so it should fit, or it should accommodate any Gearbox shell that is a version 2. But yeah, this does happen, not something I can control. I did everything in my power to get it working, and I'm going to contact the customer with this video and determine the course of action. Well, I will see you guys later, and just catch you guys later. Bye.